right, so welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to go a little bit deeper than usual.
Okay.
We are going to be looking at a fictional book
Interesting.
called The Next 5 Laws of Power.
Ooh. Okay.
Now, don't worry. This isn't about like taking over the world or anything like that or
Yeah.
Machiavellian type stuff. But we're going to be kind of dissecting these laws
Okay.
and seeing if there's anything that we can glean from them
Yeah.
or apply to our lives without necessarily endorsing every single tactic.
I like that. I think it's a good way to look at it, kind of. Reverse engineering the strategies that are presented and seeing what's the core principle behind them. And then you can kind of assess whether that has a valid application or not.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in. Law number 6.
Okay.
Court attention at all costs.
Okay.
This is basically saying that visibility is very important and that being overlooked can be pretty detrimental.
Yes, and this kind of speaks to like basic psychology, like the availability heuristic. If something is front of mind for people, that's what they're going to think of first when they think of a problem that they need to have solved. So if you're not visible, you're just simply not on their radar.
That's true. And I think that that's probably true for most people.
Yeah.
The book gives an example of like captivating a business presentation with visuals and storytelling
Yeah.
to help you stand out.
Yeah, you know, if you think about the best speakers you've ever seen, they probably did not blend in.
They probably didn't.
They were probably pretty loud or had something interesting about them that...
Absolutely. I think about like Steve Jobs
Yeah.
giving presentations, you know.
Exactly.
Everyone knew what was going to happen, but everyone was still very, very interested.
Yeah, it's interesting. The book doesn't dive too deep into this.
Yeah.
But the ethical question is vital here. You know, is all attention good attention?
Right. And what tactics are acceptable in the pursuit of visibility?
Yeah.
That's something to keep in mind as we go through this. All right, so next up is a law that's maybe a little bit more morally ambiguous.
Oh, okay.
Law number 7, get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit.
Ooh, that is a tricky one.
Yeah, so this one kind of has to be handled with a bit of nuance.
For sure.
The book basically advocates that you should be leveraging the efforts of others to reach your goals, but that you should always be the one that is recognized for it.
Okay.
And one example that they give is using your team's ideas, but presenting them as a collective achievement, spearheaded by you.
Right.
And that's where I think the alarm bells kind of start ringing for me a little bit.
Yeah.
That seems to me to be a slippery slope to taking undue credit for other people's work.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a valid concern. The key thing here is, there's this tension between how much do you delegate and then recognizing contributions appropriately.
Right. It's one thing to be, in charge of a group, but it's another thing to take credit for things that other people...
It's not about manipulation. It's about, guiding and coordinating the efforts to reach a common goal.
Exactly.
So it's really about, harnessing the collective talent.
Yeah.
But also making sure that everyone feels valued and acknowledged for their contributions.
I think so. It's more about leadership than exploitation.
Exactly. All right, so this next one, law number 8 is kind of interesting.
Okay.
Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. This sounds like it's straight out of a dating advice book.
Right, yeah.
But it's basically saying that you need to cultivate an aura of desirability.
Okay.
You need to make yourself the sought-after entity rather than you having to chase after things.
I like it.
One of the examples that they give in the book is in a negotiation, you should remain calm and collected.
Okay.
You should let the other party seek your approval, almost as if you are the key to their success.
Okay, so you're kind of holding the cards in that situation.
Right.
Exactly. And they need to come, beg you basically. And this actually reminds me a lot of limited edition product launches.
Oh, yeah.
They'll generate all this hype, but they'll have these huge long lines of people waiting to get something.
Right, yeah.
And the scarcity of the product just increases the value of the product in people's minds.
Yeah, you're totally tapping into that principle of scarcity where something is less available, it's going to be more desirable.
Exactly. And so I think that, ethically speaking, the key here is to highlight genuine value.
Right.
Without necessarily resorting to these kind of manipulative tactics.
For sure.
Don't be fake scarce. Just actually be good at something.
Absolutely.
All right, so law number 9.
Okay.
Win through your actions, never through argument. This one seems pretty straightforward. it emphasizes the power of action over words.
Yes.
And this is basically saying, instead of arguing or debating with people, just go out and produce tangible results. They give an example of silencing critics, not through arguments, but by successfully completing the project.
Yes.
Have you ever had any of those moments where people doubted you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And you just thought to yourself, I'll show you. And then you went out and you did the thing. And it felt so good to prove them wrong.
Yeah, it's incredibly satisfying.
Yeah. And it really just boils down to this idea of credibility.
Yeah.
Especially today in this world where it's so easy to, see fake news and all this kind of stuff. People are very, very skeptical.
Right.
And so when you actually go out and you do something,
Yeah.
it just speaks volumes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It shows you're not all talk, you're about action.
It does. And it proves that you are actually competent and that you can achieve things.
Yeah.
Actions really are.
Yeah.
The ultimate proof of capability.
For sure.
All right, so this last one.
Yeah.
Law number 10, infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky.
Interesting.
So this law highlights the impact that our social circles have on our well-being.
Yeah.
And this law is saying,
Yeah.
be mindful of the company you keep. It suggests that if you surround yourself with positive and successful people,
Okay.
that it's going to contribute to your own success. Have you ever run into those people?
Oh, yeah.
That you just, they're just energy vampires. They
Yeah.
just drain your energy.
That's sure.
And you leave the conversation feeling depleted?
Absolutely. I think we all know a few of those.
Yeah. And so this is not necessarily about, abandoning people who are going through a hard time or anything like that.
Right.
But it is about recognizing that your environment
Yeah,
can have a huge impact on your mindset.
for sure.
So it's about proactively going out
Mm-hmm.
and finding people who inspire you,
Yeah.
people that uplift you, people who have qualities that you admire and want to embody yourself.
It's like you're choosing your influences. Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure
So it's
that,
not
yeah.
about necessarily shutting people out, but it's about being very, very careful and conscious about who you allow
Right.
to influence you.
I like that.
Well, there you have it. 5 laws from the next 5 laws of power, each offering a unique perspective on navigating this world of power and influence.
For sure.
What stood out to you?
I'm always drawn to the actions speak louder than words kind of thing. So for me, law number 9 was a big one. It just reminds me that, instead of talking about things, you should just go out and do them. And I think that that's especially important today.
Yeah, I think, that one resonated with me as well. I think that you have to focus on what you can control and let those actions speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
Now, one thing that I will say about this book is that it definitely has a little bit more of a strategic, maybe even a little bit manipulative
Yeah.
bent to it. But I think that the key takeaway here is that these laws are really just tools. And it's up to us to determine how we're going to use them.
Right. It's all about the application. Do you use them for good or do you use them for evil?
Exactly. So we encourage you to go out, think about these 5 laws. See if there's any way that you can apply them to your own lives. Maybe ethically, maybe strategically, maybe they resonate with you, maybe they don't.
Yeah.
But I think that the key takeaway here is just to be conscious of these principles that are at play and to apply them in a way that aligns with your own values and goals.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Bayev.